Hello, everybody. In this problem, we are looking at, it's a rate problem. And let's read the problem and see what it says. A plane can fly 1,050 miles in the same time that it takes a car to go 350 miles. If the car travels 100 miles per hour slower than the plane, find the speed of the plane. It says, using r as your variable to represent the speed of the plane in miles per hour, write an equation using the information above that can be solved to find the answer to the problem. So they're stepping us through this. They're actually having us find the equation first, which is what you'd want to do anyway, and then solve that equation to get the rate at which the plane flies, the r. And like I said, it's a rate, and so one thing that you need to know about solving these problems is that rate equals distance divided by time. That's a very important formula that you need to know. Well, let's see here. Let's read the problem again. A plane can fly 1,050 miles in the same time that it takes a car to go 350 miles. If the car travels 100 miles per hour slower than the plane, find the speed of the plane. So, we know, I think what we can do is we can figure out the rate at which the car travels easily enough. So the rate for the car, well, it says the car travels 100 miles per hour slower than the plane. So the rate of the car is the rate of the plane minus 100. So we have that. Now, we somehow need to relate these. We need to find an equation here. Well, let's see. Well, okay. A plane can fly this many miles in the same time as. Look at this. In the same time as. So that means the times are equal. So what we can try to do is set the times equal, and that should give us an equation because there's an equal sign there. But what that means is I need to get this solved for time. Okay, so we're going to have to take this equation and solve it for time. Well, let's write this symbolically. So r equals d divided by t. So if I want to solve this for t, what I'll do is I'll multiply both sides by t. That will get t out of the denominator. So now I have tr equals d. Now I'm solving for t, so I want to get rid of the r over here, so I'll divide both sides by r, and that cancels the r's. And so I've got my equation for t. T equals d over r, or distance divided by rate. Okay, so here's the situation. The time for the plane is the same as the time for the car. That's what we're told. All right, so the time for the plane is the distance of the plane divided by the rate of the plane, which we're just calling r. And that's the time for the plane, but that's the same as the time for the car. What's the time for the car? It's the distance of the car divided by the rate of the car. But we said the rate of the car is this. We just found that up here. That's r minus 100. Okay, let's see if we can fill in some of this other information. Distance traveled by the plane. Well, let's see, do we have that? Well, yeah, we sure do. A plane can fly 1,050 miles. So that's the distance traveled by the plane. And do we have the distance traveled by the car? We sure do. The same time as it takes the car to go 350 miles. So that's the distance traveled by the car. So there we go, 350 over here. So there we have it. We have the equation that we need to solve. So that's what I would, if I could fit it on this paper into this box, that's what would go there, right? This equation. So this is the answer to the first part of this problem. Find the equation. Now, the second part is to solve this equation to find r. Well, let me scoot my table here. Okay. So solve this equation. Well, when we solve an equation involving fractions, we like to clear the denominators out. And we do that by multiplying both sides by the least common multiple of these denominators, which we call the LCD. So we need to find something that's divisible by r and divisible by r minus 100. So the LCD is going to be r times r minus 100. That's the simplest thing that's divisible by both this and this. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this fraction by that quantity. So on the right and also on the left. Multiply it by the LCD. And now I'll cancel. That was the whole point of doing this, because I knew that if I multiplied by the LCD, all these denominators would cancel off. And now let's see what's left over. We have r minus 100 times 1,050. Or let me write the 1,050 on the left. 1,050 times r minus 100 equals 350 times r. Okay, let's distribute. So we have 1,050 times r minus 1,050 times 100. I just add 2 zeros to this. Okay, I want r on one side and the numbers on the other side. So let's subtract 350 from both sides. So when I do that, let's see, this minus 350 is 700. Let's add this to both sides, this 105,000 to both sides. That gives me this. I can divide both sides by 100. That kills 2 zeros in each side. And then what's 1,050 divided by 7? Think about it a little bit, or get a calculator if you need to. You'll find out that this is equal to 150, believe it or not. So that is r. Now what does r represent? Well, we were told that that represented the rate of the plane. So this is the rate at which the plane travels, and so that is our answer over here, 150 miles per hour.